I'm Ben James, joined by a very special guest today, the Telegraph's James Corrigan, and of course Simon Thomas.
The latest man I've dragged off Westgate Street to come into the show. He's dressed specifically for the occasion. But Mr. Corrigan and I go back a long way. He's almost as many years ago he started as I do. So X-Wheels on Sunday now of the Telegraph.
That does make me feel old. I'm almost near with Simon Thomas. It's great to be back here.
And of course, you've both been over on Westgate Street, over the stadium today, to hear Alan Wynne-Jones talking about the scrum.
What do you make of it?
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was, he didn't really want to get involved in all the nastiness, I'd call it, before the game. But typical Alan Wynne-Jones, flat batting. But, you can tell there's real intent there. And he'll be quietly liking this. He'll be quietly liking that they'll be getting wound up the French, and the experience will come to the fore, because that's what it's going to be this weekend. It's basically men against boys. That's what it is. But the boys are playing really well, so it's going to be a fascinating tussle, I think.
Yeah. Wales have kind of made the scrum an agenda, not just this week, but a fair bit. Do you think that's... some people have said it's naive, some people said it's clever. What's your take been on it?
Well, it's all about influencing the referee, isn't it? So we'll see that, when you look at the stats come 6:45 on Saturday, that's when we'll see what happens. And what has happened, they were very, very disappointed on against Ireland, particularly with that Dylan Lewis penalty late on. And, they just decided, well, actually, we're going to do something about this. And, they are trying to scrummage legally, they are. And if I noticed that myself with Furlong, he was all over us. He was coming in at 45 degrees. It was ridiculous. And, these things have gone on for years and years. What I didn't like, I don't like the cheat word. We used to always call it, as journalists, we call it dark arts. We like that. It sounds somehow sort of, a bit
mystical.
Mystical, that's the word. And but when you go cheat, I just thought that was maybe a little bit under the belt.
Can't say we were complaining, though.
No, we weren't. But that's the thing. I always laugh when journalists say, "How dare he say that?" And there we are, like they're saying fantastic. So I'll be interested. There's a bit of edge, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a bit of edge, and I think Wales will be glad of that. I think they wanted that.
That was brilliant. Seeing the stuff coming out from France last week. Ibanez, I think the phrase was like crying from Wales. It's good, and but it's right what you say. It's the battle of innocence and experience, where he's been quite well, referenced that this is the most capped, most experienced team ever to take the field from any country in the Six Nations. So much for the new Wayne Pivac.
Yeah, totally.
It's a very experienced side, but France are exciting, aren't they?
France. If you look, I was looking at it. The oldest outside half in their squad is 21, and he's not even on the pitch. I just think that's extraordinary, And what's their oldest prop is 27, and you look at it and you think this is just he's really had a go, Galtier, and I think it shows he's got free rein, and I think that's what a French coach has needed for a long time.
What was Alan Hansen said about you never win anything?
Yeah,
that didn't work out so well.
No, it didn't, did it? So I wouldn't be surprised if they came here tomorrow and did a job on us, but I think if we were in touch half time, then I'd fancy our old grey hairs to beat the bum fluff brigade, if you will. So,
that's a new word.
Yeah. So I think I think Wales are exactly where they want it at the moment. I think they've pitched it quite well, apart from the cheat word. I didn't think there's any need for that.
Because we had a few nibbles from France last night. I suppose the most significant one maybe was the stuff about Dan Biggar. Them raising Dan Biggar's concussion, which they did that in the World Cup. Yeah. And I think it all stems back to Sam Warburton making a few comments before the World Cup. They've never really seemed to have gotten over that, have they?
It was interesting. Alan Wynne today said that Ibanez, who made the comment, worked with Prav Mathema at Wasps. So he'll be having a word. It wasn't entirely accurate the way they phrased Dan's situation. And the facts are he had 2 concussions in the World Cup against Australia and against Fiji. He obviously failed his HIA last week. But we're not medics, are we?
No.
You compare it. I was talking to the Prof. John Williams today, just chatting to him about how medical science has changed. 20, 30 years ago it was a damp sponge, wasn't it?
Yeah,
now the absolute player welfare is at the top of the tree. The most important thing. They've had experts come in, concussion experts in. And if he's past fit to play, you have to go with the medical advice, don't you?
And I think you need to look at the incident as well. He was absolutely flabbergasted when they came up to him and said, "You've got to go and do an HRD." He said, "What, me?" He couldn't believe it. And so then, he's come back on and he chucks a bad number out there. Who are we to know? Who are we to know? But, I don't like when concussion is used as sort of political point. I think it's a really, really important thing.
Yeah.
And, when medics are involved, you've got to respect experts in that. If we don't, then it's not, fair enough cheating and props and all of that. That's like chuck about stuff. But, concussion's a serious deal.
Yeah. Players are better looked after now. Of course they are. Yeah. I think that's the important thing.
And so I think we all should be careful about the rhetoric we use around concussions and that because... I don't think, Ibanez probably let himself down a bit. They probably had the moral high ground and he maybe lost it a bit with that.
Indeed. Let's get on to a few sort of questions that we've got from our readers. A lot of them to do with style of play. So let's go with one from John here, John Richards. Does the panel think that we try to play too much rugby with the offloads at times and need to get over the gain line first?
It's funny after we've had 12 years of people going on about boring Warren ball and like we don't try and attack. Now you've seen a couple of games with a few offloads, everyone's crying about it. You can't please people, can
This
you?
is Wales, and this is just so Welsh that we're discussing this. It's, he's trying to do something, and I think Pivac's a sort of man who He'll be pragmatic as he has to, but he's trying to introduce something. He's trying to make it more expansive. He's trying with the offloads. We saw that against Ireland. That was a great try we scored.
Two offloads,
brilliant, absolutely fantastic try. We want to see more of that. And God knows if we lose tomorrow, then you can just imagine what people will be saying about let's go back to Gatlin ball and all of that.
The point we were making in the week is if you looked at the Italy-France game, and when Italy stressed France, it was with an offloading game, particularly from Minozzi, the fullback, some passes out the side. I think with the Sean Edwards team, you don't expect many one-on-one tackles to be missed, but a one-on-one tackle still provides you the opportunity of the offload.
Of course it does.
And that's the way to get through. It's all about, as Neil Jenkins said the other week to me, it's all about getting space, and you can get space in lots of kind of ways, can't you? But I think it's going to be a fascinating game. I'm really looking forward to it.
I am really looking forward to it. I can't remember. I was saying to the cab driver when I was coming in that it's like an old-fashioned. It seemed to me like an old-fashioned feeling before this game. It's 4:45. I like that kick-off 40:45. Everybody will be in on town. There'll be a good atmosphere there. The reef will be shut. I know that's not old-fashioned, but there'll just be a great atmosphere there. Sean Edwards coming back, the Sean factor. I'm really looking forward to it, and I just think it'd be, it's the game of the weekend for me.
Yeah.
Even though obviously England Ireland on a Sunday. I think that sort of kills it for me Sunday, and obviously that'd be a great game. But this is the spectacle of the weekend. There,
obviously Wales haven't lost to France in Cardiff in a decade now, but the last few encounters have been so close.
Well, the worry for me is that you think Wales's fortune of France shooting themselves in the foot has got to end sometime. You look at the World Cup game last year, Six Nations game. I mean, they imploded in both occasions. Fahimina was involved centrally in both times. So you wonder how many times that can happen where Wales benefit from France really errors and self-inflicted wounds.
I watched that World Cup game the other morning again, and I just can't believe we won it. And I tell you what, if Sean Edwards had been their defensive coach, they'd have won by 20 that day. They would have won by 20 because their heads went. And that's what I fear, that the narrative of the last few games we played them, France have streaked clear. We've gone back at them, with our great resilience we have and all of this, and they've folded. That will not happen with Sean Edwards in that thing. It just won't. He's what I love about Sean Edwards is not what he just brings in terms of his defensive qualities, but the emotion he brings with it. And I think that's my only concern with this new setup, whether we still have that hard edge, that emotion that he instills in the squad.
Okay. Since the last game, I think Wayne Pivac had a press conference yesterday, so why don't we take a look at what he had to say yesterday.
Gareth, I think he'll bring a lot of line speed defensively. I think that's a strength of his, and I think he's been obviously unavailable in round one and come off the bench round two, so he's full of energy, and I think it's the right opportunity to start him. Ross, he's been the same. I mean, in training, he's been working really, really hard. I think he's been impressive when he's come off the bench. Again, a lot of energy, a lot of good communication out there, and I think, it's just an opportunity for him to start, and I think he deserves that. We're putting a bit of pressure on the second rows. Adam Baird's had a taste off the bench. I think Corey Hill had a go, and now Will gets an opportunity. So really just trying to create competition, and I think he's trained well, and we look forward to seeing him out there. We want to consolidate on what we've done so far. Obviously, be a little bit more accurate with the ball than we were in the last outing, and certainly not give away the soft opportunities in our own sort of exit zones. So obviously looking to improve on that last performance, and certainly we'll need to for this game. hopefully it's going to be massive. It's a fantastic venue. It's when it's sold out, the atmosphere is electric, and we want those fans to be that 16th man for us, and hopefully that'll be the case, and we'll put on a good show.
So that's what Wayne Pivac had to say about the team. But what are your thoughts? Obviously, 2 changes from the defeat in Dublin.
I thought they'd be the changes, actually. I thought, Moriarty brings more physicality, I think. I think Aaron Wainwright looks a bit tired to me, but I'll be honest, he's had a hell of a time, hasn't he, since being such a breakthrough in the World Cup, and he's played some, quite a lot of rugby since. So, I like that change, and I think Gareth Davies is, in Pivac's mind, the number 1 scrum half in Wales. I believe that. He played under him in Scarlets, of course. I think Gareth Davies gets quite a bad press in Wales with the supporters. Because if you look what he's done, to me he's been absolutely sensational. The tries he scored, those moments that that Mike Phillips used to do, and suddenly he'd score a try from nowhere and it wasn't on. And I like Gareth Davies. So Thomas Williams is a sensational player, and obviously Rhys Webb is Rhys Webb. But I like the changes. I'm glad he didn't panic about George North, because I think with George, he's one of those players when his back's in the corner, when he feels like he's been slighted a bit and people are having a go at him, he always bounces back. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a good game tomorrow.
It's interesting we say about Gareth Davies. I think is spot on. Wayne Pivac inherited Gareth Davies as an impact Scarlet sub, and has taken him to a 50-cap international. And the other thing I was wondering was, he's brought back in the side. Was he going to be given the same role as he had under Gatlin and Sean Edwards? A free role, a licence to burst out of the line, put pressure on. Well, it's clear from the press comments yesterday that's going to be his role. So he's going to be right up on Intermac, putting pressure on young centre, and also Arthur Vincent as well. We're saying, of course, that he's the first player to play in an international at the Principality Stadium, who was born since the stadium was built. He's beaten Louis Summit to it. So, and the other one, of course, if you look at the change in the back row, I think you're right, but Wainwright, he's played a lot of rugby. He's gone in just over 2 years from playing for Cardiff Met to playing in the World Cup.
Extraordinary, right.
And Moriarty's probably deserved his place, and it's interesting with all this discussion about his future. And whether playing for Wales is going to be a big incentive to stay well. It's a nice help when you're being picked in the team, isn't there? And then Wainwright will come on and bring dynamism off the bench, as will Thomas Williams. So it's a good squad.
Yeah, it's a very, very good squad. And in fact, they think there's 859 caps. I was just thinking, if Jonathan Davis was fit, if the Fox was fit, he'd definitely be in that team. That would take it over 900, which would mean we'd average more than 60 caps each. And that's incredible, because we're not an old side. We're not.
Hasn't Alan Jones got more caps than the entire French pack?
Yeah, well, he's got
136 of them.
Yeah,
you look at the breakdown. It's like, is it 7 of the starting 15 have over 50?
7 of them have got over 70 caps.
And you look at like the all-time record, which is the All Blacks, isn't it? Which is about 1,065.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a reflection of two things. It's a reflection that last year we played 16 Test matches. That's the modern game. I mean, if people talk about Dylan Lewis and Wyn Jones being rookies on the international stage, they've got 48 caps between them.
Exactly.
You can hoover up so many caps these days. But it is a fact also that this is a legacy of Gatlin a few years ago, having tried to build a new team. 2016, build a squad. Build a few young players coming through, and so you've still got youngsters, vastly experienced ones, but does experience always win you games?
Yeah, but it wins you close games, I think, and I think that's the point this weekend. When you look at France, their captain's only got 13 caps. They're going mad because they have a half-pack partnership who have played the last 6 games together or something.
Unheard of in France.
And, that by all accounts, that happened for 10 years. And they're saying, this is going to be a huge test for those young lads.
It was their first away game of the tournament.
Totally. They've obviously England up for them was perfect.
Yep.
Then Italy, they weren't great against Italy. They did some wonderful stuff, but they weren't great. I don't know. I would, I'd fancy us to win this, and it throws the tournament open again with Ireland on Sunday. Ireland, England. I'm not going to say I'm going to support England ever, but suddenly England beat Ireland, and then again. It's going to be
a race again, isn't it?
It's going to be one of those final days.
I think what you've got tomorrow is two sides will want to play.
Totally.
They'll want to play, and if that's the case, this which defensive unit can reduce the damage. Now, will Monsieur Edwards come to the fore there? I mean, that's a fascinating bit for it. I've actually gone for France to win in a high-scoring game by one score, but that's only because I went for Wales in Ireland and I was wrong, so I'm wrong again.
Yeah. Well, I just think if it's close, I fancy Wales' experience. My fear is that they could get away again, and if they do, I don't see us coming back.
The last two games, they built 16-0 lead. I think it was 14-0 in the World Cup, something of that nature, and then imploded. Yeah. We can't afford to give them that head start.
And Edwards will have absolutely screamed at them those things. We are not. If we get ahead again, we're shutting out, game over, and we might see DuPont kicking it dead properly this time.
He's some player, isn't he?
Oh, he's
best player in the world at the minute.
I think he's got the potential of being it, isn't he? I think he's definitely the best scrum half at the moment. He just seems to me to have everything. He's got pace. He's got, his kicking out of his pocket. It's just everything seems tremendous.
I think the return of Vakatawa as well. He missed the Italy game. I think it was a tricep or bicep problem. Now he's come back in, and we talked a lot about Nick Tompkins having a few issues defensively. Well, if you're going to come up against anyone who's going to physically test you, Vakatawa he's some specimen, isn't he?
He could emerge as one of the great French players, I think. But I don't really like the fact that he's moved Ficao up to the wing. I thought that was, he's supposed to be Sean Edwards' defensive leader at inside centre, and then he's like, this is his third cap. Good player. Obviously, a lot of potential, but something about Ficao, I think he was just growing into that role. Now you got him on the wing. I'm not sure about that. They've got some good wingers. They can
also Penno is important. Isn't he? He's a fine player.
Talking about Ficao, someone dragged up a quote from Sean Edwards from 2008 where he sort of said he's my player. He's my sort of player, which just goes 12 years on.
Yeah, exactly.
Here he is.
And what is he? He's how old is he?
28. Yeah.
Seriously, feels like he's been around.
17, 18. He's been around forever, and he's the only one with more than 50 caps for him. And you've got him sort of tucked away on the wing. I would have liked him there. They could have had
Raka on the wing.
Totally, they could have had
Jonathan Joseph.
Yeah. Any other questions?
There's one about the roof. Is it open or closed?
It is closed, which is great.
That suits Wales.
And it suits France. And it suits everybody, I think, because it's just a so much better occasion when the roof's shut. I think it's the best, apart from where the stadium is, I think it's the best feature of our stadium is that beautiful roof.
I'm very disappointed we haven't had a single roof row this time.
I know, we haven't. We do like a roof row. You feel embarrassed asking the question now, but it's got to be asked.
I'm sure Gregor Townsend will roll up in the final weekend and bring it out. I think that's all the questions and all the talk done. So final predictions?
Well, like I said, I've just done it now. We've all predicted our scorelines. I think I went for Wales 25, France 27. I sincerely hope I'm wrong. I just fear that they might have a few match winners in form in the likes of DuPont, Ntamak, Aldrit, Olivon and Vakatawa. If those players fire, I think they could edge it. But I'm hoping you're going to say something different.
I'm going to say Wales 27, France 25. Exactly. Because I can't really think for myself, so I'll just say that. But I can just see, I think if we're in touch at halfway, I can see us winning, and I can see, it's going to be one for the old chaps tomorrow, and me and Simon should be glad of that.
There we go. I think I went 2018 to Wales, but I'm not sure. Well, we'll just check tomorrow's Western Mail. We'll find out. That's it for today. A massive thanks to James for coming in.
Thank you.
Simon. Thanks. We'll be back again tomorrow when we hopefully be reacting to a Wales victory.